Let's talk about how to divide some polynomials. I've got a few examples here we're going to talk about, and we are going to use synthetic division to figure these problems out. So remember, in synthetic division, we look at our divisor and we want to think about what would happen if we set that equal to 0 and solved that for p. Well, p would become -8. So your divisor number in your divisor house over here is -8. All right, then what we do is we gather up our coefficients and make sure that this is in standard form, this thing we're dividing here. So it is, so 3, 17, bring those down, -58, and -24. So what we're going to do now is go through this process. So first coefficient always comes down no matter what it is. Then we're going to multiply -8 times 3, get -24. And then we're going to add these together, get -7. So remember, it's multiply, add, repeat. So -7 now is going to get multiplied by -8 to make this positive 56. Then we're going to add those together, get -2. Then multiply -8 times -2 to get positive 16. Add those together, and we're going to get -8. And this last number is always your remainder. So what would be your answer when you divide these two polynomials? We're going to start with the 3, and our highest exponent was p to the third, and we're dividing here, so we're going to start with one less. So 3p squared, and then minus 7, that's the next coefficient, put a p on there. The next variable has one less exponent, and then minus 2. Now, since we did have a remainder, how we like to do that is to add it on to the answer as a fraction, because it is just a fractional piece of that polynomial left over. So it's the part we're remaining, which is -8, over the divisor, which is p plus 8. So that right there would be your answer for that very first problem. All right, so let's do another one. And in this one, we are having a little bit of a different issue. Okay, when we look at it, I know we're not dealing with x's. Yes, these are m's, just like our other problem with p's, but we have something that just doesn't look right, right? And what you notice is that this beginning part here is m to the third minus 7m squared. There is no m term, is there? You're missing a term. So we talked about how you need to do a ghost term. Put in a 0 term for that, because when you're dividing and you're using synthetic division, in order to make this process work out, you have to have one of each type of variable and one of each type of degree. Like if you start with m to the third, you got to have m squared and m to the first and a constant in order for this thing to work out right. So we're missing a regular m term, so we're going to put in a ghost term for that, because 0 really just means it's not there, but we have to put something there to hold its place. All right, bring down your minus 7. That is what we really need to look at, is being divided by m minus 7. All right, so in your little divisor house over here, what number are you going to put? Positive 7. That's right. All right, now we're going to grab our coefficients from the problem. We're going to use 1. Remember, that's implied. And then -7. Here's what that 0 is important, and then -7. So draw your line, and we'll start bringing some stuff down. All right, so always bring down the first number no matter what. Multiply that number underneath the line by the number in your divisor house, which is 7. All right, and then add those, you get 0. That's okay. All right, be careful on this one. 7 times 0 is 0. Sometimes we will try to make some things up on that. Another 0 here, and we're just adding. All right, so we're left with kind of an odd-looking answer here, aren't we? But we're going to go back and figure out what variables go on what. So on this one, we started with the m to the third. This 1 is the coefficient for what term? It will be m to the second, okay? And then we have a 0m term, and then a 0 constant term. This is your remainder. And so you could write it this way. It wouldn't be wrong. What's a little cleaner way you could write it? Technically, you don't need those 0 terms. You could just write this as m squared. You could even forego the plus and just write minus 7 over m minus 7. That would also be an acceptable answer. Again, I wouldn't count this top one wrong at all, but it just takes out the clutter if you take those zeros out.